Hi and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be talking all about ways in which you can support yourself in maybe recovering from those times when you've been absorbing other people's emotions, which can be really, really draining. If you are new to me, my work, my name is Nicola. I'm a yoga and mindfulness teacher, a yoga therapist, but I'm also highly sensitive and neurodivergent myself, and I create content here for other sensitive folk to help them find calm and connection in themselves. And I do that through things like therapeutic yoga, mindfulness, seasonal living, and other bits and pieces too. So let's begin. Let's start by saying, first off, and I know that you are probably watching this and know it already, but if you are an empath, a HSP, you're neurodivergent or sensitive in any way, you are likely to be more prone to taking on other people's emotions. That comes with having a nervous system that is wired for being extra sensitive of the world around us and taking in more information. So the first thing then, before we even get into ways in which you might support yourself in those moments where you know you've just taken on other people's stuff, is just starting with awareness. And it took me quite a long time actually before I was aware that I might be taking on other people's things. Probably, late 20s, early 30s. So the first thing is to just start, if you're having a moment where you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed in any way, just asking the question, is this mine? And over time, you can start to see the subtle differences between when it is yours and when it is somebody else's that you've absorbed. And for me, usually, I notice that if it's other people's, I feel more confused by it, which makes sense, right? Because if you've been feeling a certain emotion about a particular situation, that situation has happened or been raised for some reason, then you can understand, I'm feeling, frustrated because I've had to have a conversation about such and such, and I've been quite apprehensive about it. Whereas if you've been feeling fine and then you go and you see a friend who's having a difficult time, and then you come back and a little bit later on in the day, you're just feeling really low and you can't put your finger on it. There's no reason to, then that can give you an indication that it's, you've taken on a little bit of somebody else's stuff. So if this is brand new to you, start by just being aware, first of all. And so then coming on to what can you do? You've been in a situation where you've been with other people, perhaps they're going through a difficult time or they've had a difficult situation, and you know that you've absorbed their stuff. It could be anger, it could be grief, it could be frustration, it could be sadness, it could be anxiety, whatever it is. What are you going to do? The first thing that you need to do is you need to know and facilitate that this emotion, this feeling in your body needs an exit point. As with all emotions, whether it's your own or somebody else's, it will need an exit point. And I actually find that when it's other people's stuff, it's easier to let go of. So you may well find that too. So things that you might do to allow that emotion out of your body is obviously to cry. If you're an easy crier, then just, stick on a film that gets the water where it's going, because it literally gives you a physiological release. Move your body, voice it. Maybe you need to sing, maybe you need to shout. If you're, not in a highly populated area, go find a hill. Get into the Sound of Music vibes and have a bit of a shout, scream, sing, whatever. Write it out, dance, whatever it is, it will need moving through. Sometimes feelings aren't ready. Sometimes it takes a while, but you can offer that, okay, as an option. Just kind of sitting with it and letting it stew and not doing anything for it will just sit there, and that's when it can really start to impact our other relationships. It's that classic thing of you've had a difficult day at work, or you've had a conversation with someone who's going through a difficult time. You come home, you're cooking dinner, the kids are doing their thing, and we snap or whatever because we're carrying stuff that isn't ours. So after you've allowed some time for that to have an exit point, you'll need to regulate yourself. Again, especially true if you're extra sensitive, you will need some way of offering your self-regulation. It might be going out for a solitary walk. There's something about the rhythm of just steps, just taking those steps that can be really helpful. You can work with your breath. If you're familiar with breath work, you could just sit for a while and just focus on some conscious deep breaths, just to help bring yourself back to a steady rhythm. Rhythmic movement. So obviously as a yoga teacher, I'm going to talk about yoga, but there's movements in yoga like cat and cow, or literally inhaling, taking your arms up and then bending forwards and just repeating that. Or even like I'm doing now, just rocking backwards and forwards or from side to side. That is really soothing for the nervous system. You could give yourself a hug. Give yourself a squeeze. You could have a hug with a trusted, safe person. And ultimately, you could have a rest. You could just go and sit with a cup of tea, just close your eyes maybe, or lie down. Just some way of helping yourself to regulate. So the final thing that I was going to come to is ideally we want to try and guard ourselves a little bit against taking on too much of other people's stuff. And I think sometimes when you're extra sensitive and you care a lot about other people, we almost don't want to do that because we want to remain open and we want to be the person that helps others. But sometimes what I see in people, myself included, who are like this, is we are so open that we just take it all. We take it all, we receive it all. And instead, what I'm offering are some suggestions in a moment that helps to create a barrier, if you like, that's semi-permeable. It's not a wall. We're not saying, no, I don't want any of your stuff. It's like a little semi-permeable membrane that it allows our care and our love to come out. It allows our friends, family, etc. to connect with us, but it protects us from taking on too much. And so things that might help with this is to, again, this comes back to awareness, is being aware of yourself and your patterns. So if you are somebody that tends to people please, likes to fit into the helper role, is not very good at setting boundaries, it's important to become aware of yourself so that you can start to create a better boundary for yourself, so that you can notice when you're going into those roles when you don't need to. And also having practices that help you connect to yourself. So obviously I'm going to mention yoga again, but it doesn't have to be mindfulness, meditation, or just simply having a regular routine of sitting with yourself and noticing how you're feeling. These are all going to be helpful because if we've got more of an anchor within us, then we are less pulled off course by what's going on outside of ourselves. Additionally, when we connect to ourselves a bit more, we start to become more familiar with how our emotions feel in our body. I found having an emotion wheel, which I was gifted one on a lovely little plaque by somebody, and it's lovely. If you're not familiar with the emotions wheel, just Google it, and it's just a wheel that shows you lots of different emotions. It could probably go on forever because there's lots of different emotion words, but it's really helpful to have a visual and the words so that you can help put language to what you're feeling. But it's that connection of both the sensation within your body and the words that will help have a common language. And it just helps you to integrate the feelings in your body. And if you haven't read Atlas of the Heart by Brené Brown, brilliant book, really helps to understand emotions with this common language. So that's another thing that you can do. So doing all of these things, connecting in with yourself, being familiar with your emotions, being aware of your patterns, will then help you to just begin to create this semi-permeable membrane. And what it might look like is being available for those that you care about, but maybe not being as available for those people that constantly take but don't give. You want to be able to be in dynamics where it's a bit more equal. It also means that when you're in those situations where someone's offloading, you can keep a thread of connection to yourself so that you can notice that point at which you've had enough. And it's okay if it goes past that point. The noticing is important because you can say things like, I can see this is really hard for you. I'd love to support you. At the moment, I've got some stuff that I need to tend to myself, or I just need to take care of something for myself, but then I'm there for you. Or yes, I'd love to meet you on this date, but I'm not going to meet you on this date because I'm tending to my own needs, or whatever. It just keeps you connected to yourself, and then you can start to put those boundaries in place. And I know there's going to be people watching that's like, oh, I don't know how to do boundaries. I say yes to everything. It's, without sounding cliched, it is a journey, and I get it. I used to say yes to everything. I was available for everybody. And I will tell you that in the process of coming back to myself and saying no, I have probably disgruntled, well, not probably, I have definitely disgruntled some people, but it's okay. I'm on the other side of it. I can tell you that I'm safe, that relationships that I care about are intact, and, you know, we can do these difficult things. Even though they're hard, we can do them because ultimately we are worth it, and we're able to be so much more when we keep ourselves resourced. Okay, so that's it from me on this one. I'd love to hear any comments on this in the comments below. Share your experiences. Is there anything that I've missed? Please add it in below. Anyone that's watching this video will benefit. Obviously, if you've liked it, hit the like button. Subscribe if you've not subscribed. I've got lots more content that may well be of use to you. And of course, if you are struggling with any of these things, please consider getting in touch. I have lots of different resources, both for free, but also I've got lots of services that I offer too. And yeah, I'd love to connect with you. All right, take care for now, and I'll see you soon.